Okay, so this is the repository which we have. So as you know, I keep all the repositories in this URL. So for Git, we have actually two repositories. You can actually search for it like this as well. So for Git, we have actually these two. This is for the basics. So last time we had these basic thing covered, like how to create a repository, how to configure it, how to check in, how to check out, how to create branches, how to commit the code, how to push the code, and all those things. Right? We discuss all of this and all of those things, and we have it documented here. So if just in case if you guys need to go through it, I actually said that you guys should be reading it all, read everything, but the steps, practical steps, I have actually put inside the same document at the bottom. So here, practice steps to take. This is what you have to do if you are doing it for the first time, just in case anyone here who wishes to do it again or never and have not done it before, try using these steps here. This represents what are things which you have to take when to perform the operations, like from configurations, what are the commands to take and how to commit and push and add and all those things. Now, today's session and today's agenda is about the advanced side of things. And when I say advanced side of things, a lot of operations or Git operations are involved here, and a lot of Git commands are involved here. So this session, which I'm saying Git advanced, this is not really about learning all the advanced Git commands. So I'm not really talking about the advanced Git commands like Git merge, Git squash, and Git this and Git that. Rather, I am going to focus more on practical aspects of it, like what are the things and steps you guys will be taking and their corresponding Git commands as well, because of course we need to learn Git commands to perform advanced Git operations. But my focus of this tutorial is to tell you guys how you will be creating a PR, also called as pull request, how you will be merging a pull request, how to do code reviews, and most importantly, how to resolve conflicts, right? And then how you will revert the changes. So the focus of this tutorial and the focus of this session as well is to explain you these four or five, rather five important things, because without this, learning these things, you will not be able to work, let alone understand in a project. Because in a project, these things are necessary, because you're going to be working in a collaborative environment where you will have to share the same repository with multiple people who are working towards achieving the same goal, writing the code or usable code in the same repository. And then when two people try to modify a piece of code or piece of file, uh, it is bound to go into a conflict zone. That means you're trying to modify a file and other person is also trying to modify the file. Then how you will merge it, right? So there is a proper process around it, right? It's a complete process, right? So these four or rather five most important things are there, which you need to really learn. And as I said, without learning these, you will not be able to work properly or effectively in a team. And it could also so happen that you will be shamed in front of everyone if you don't know these things, because these things are very basic. And if you're saying that I have an experience of these many years and I'm using the Git, and then you don't know these things, then people will raise suspicions. This is very important for you to learn, and this is my primary focus. To do these activities, there are few Git commands which we are going to see, of course, that we will learn. But as I said, my agenda is not towards agenda of the session is not towards learning all the Git commands possible, all the possible Git commands, because they are huge. It's a huge collection of Git commands there. So we don't have to learn all of them. We all only need to learn what is relevant for you to work effectively, right? So my focus is these things. So we're going to start with pull request. I'm going to explain what is a pull request, how do you merge the code, why do you need to merge the code, why do you do good code reviews, how do you resolve the conflicts, and how you will do it. And mostly, if you notice, I have written UI. That means these are the things which have to be done from the UI. You will not do these things from the local system. For example, pull request creation, pull request merging PR here represents pull request. So pull request merging, it has to be done from UI. Code review has to be done from the UI. Conflict resolution can be done from UI as well as local. So this conflict resolution is the only thing where you're going to need the git commands, right? Other than these, all the other things can be done from UI. Now UI here actually is nothing but the GitHub repository. Then I'm saying I'm making all the changes using GitHub UI for the sake of simplicity. So whatever changes I'm going to make in this tutorial, when I explain this, all the things I'm going to do from the UI. I'm not going to do git add, git commit. I'll do all the commit and changes from the UI itself for the sake of simplicity. But that doesn't mean in the real world also you always use UI. So for PR creation, all these things you will have to use UI. But for making changes in the code, you will always use git command line from local system. Now I have written lot of stuff here, right? And I will walk you through all of this, but not everything in a single go. So let me just see what point it makes sense, and then I'll jump onto the practical aspect of it. I would like to show you exactly how things are done. So let me just walk you through these lines, and then I'll just show you that. Now, all the code changes happen on the local machine, and developer then commits these code using git command line tool like git bash. Right? This is what I was saying, that you will have to use git command line for making the changes, not from the UI. Below things, however, happen from the GitHub UI. As I said, creation of the PR, review, and code review, and revert and rollback of PR changes happen in the UI. These things will happen in the UI. Now, conflict resolution and merging. These are the two things which can happen from the UI and also can happen from the local system. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you from the UI, but then I'll also show you from the local system if time permits. Okay. Otherwise, I'll add a screenshot and tell you it's not very different. However, I've put the commands here as well. So let's talk about the conflict resolution. So if conflicts are simple enough, then it can be done from the UI. If conflicts are appearing in many files or conflict related to deletion of the file, then you will have to do it from the local system. It cannot be possible to resolve conflicts of the deletion file. It's not possible to do it from the UI. Now, what do I mean by this? Maybe you might not understand right now what's happening, what I'm talking about, what is conflict, how conflicts are arising. So I'm going to show you that. But the idea is very simple. That is, one developer is trying to make a change in a file, and the other developer is deleting the file, right? So there is a conflict. So which file to keep? One is trying to delete the file, other is making changes in the file, and both the developers are important. So there the conflict will arise, and the Git will say no. Git will say neither I will make the change nor I will delete the file. First, you both of you just sit together and talk and decide which is what I need to do, and then let me know. So Git resist the updation if it finds a conflict, and I will show you that. So instead of walking you through the whole steps here, because this is something which is very important. What are the steps involved when you go to a company? What exactly you need to do is what I have listed here, right? So I will just skip this merging for now. At the end of the tutorial, I'll explain this. But let me just walk you through this part. What happens when you go to a company and you start a project? What are the steps and how you actually perform your work and push it into the repository and contribute into that repository? Guys, give me a minute. So what I was saying about this real world steps to be taken by a developer. So when you go inside a company and when you join a project, you becomes an automation test developer, right? Because you're not an application developer, but you are a test automation developer. That means you still have to get access to a repository where you can contribute the code, right? So when you go to a company, when you go to a project, there will be discussion and there will be task allocation. All those activities would happen as a part of project management activities. And then you are assigned a ticket. What is a ticket? It's if you're using Jira, then it's a task ID, right? So let's say in the sprint, there will be a task, there will be a new user story, and the task would be to automate the test cases of the user story. Let's say you have 10 test cases to automate for the user story. So there will be a task assigned to you, and task will have a unique ID. You remember we have seen Jira in play. We had different user stories. We have a task, and each task which we create there it has a unique ID, right? And you are assigned that ID, and you will be given some specific time to automate the 10 test cases, right? So first and foremost, you're going to get a ticket or a Jira ID. All right. Then next step is you have to start working on the project. So there will already will be a project there, a framework will be there. So you have to first do what? You have to first create a branch, right? So you will do what? You will developer will then create the branch from master. Master is the base branch, but this is not always the case. In some projects, you will see the base branch as called as develop, or it can also be called as stage or staging, right? And then all the code gets merged inside the develop, and then develop code goes inside the master. So all of these are nothing but the branches, right? So you have to find out what is the base branch, what is the base branch, and base branch, let's say, is master. So then you will create a branch from the master. All right. And it's better if I show this side by side. So let me just create a repository for you guys just to demonstrate. So let me just quickly create a repository, temp repo for demo. I'll click on public and then just create repository. All right, let me just quickly put some code inside it. Okay, give me a minute. Let me just quickly do that so that I could do it step by step, show you guys. Okay, for this I need to quickly I should have done it beforehand actually. This is my repository. I've just created this just to demonstrate the steps which I am actually explaining in this part. And this repository also have the code here. If you remember, if you see, I have created the branches here, as well as I have screenshots here placed here as well. But let me just demonstrate few of these things. So developer will create the branch from master, right? So let's say you go inside the company, you will have to get to see what kind of project is it. Let's say this is the project, and then here you have to create the branch. So creation of the branch can be done from local using command line, or it can also be done it from here. So you can actually, I'm just showing you how to do create a branch from here. So let's say you are the developer, you are assigned the ID. Let's say Jira ID is Jira 23, like this is a Jira ID for you. Then you will write some description, meaningful name, creation or add search test cases. So this is how you're going to create the branch. And you have to notice creation of the branch should be happening from the base branch, not from some other branch. So make sure that you first select the master here and then write the name of the branch and then click on this button, create branch Jira 2386, and search from master and click on this. So the moment you create this branch, can do this, you will see a branch being created here. Now there could be some confusion about what is a branch. Now what is a branch? Branch is a very simple concept. Branch is something like, understand it as a separate folder. So in Git repo, if I try to give you an analogy, in Git repo there is a one main code base, and that code base is present inside the master. Code base here represent, let's say you represent it with a folder. So we have a folder. Inside this you have these two subfolder and this file. This project is placed inside the folder called as master. Now you have to work. Now some different person comes and he want to modify something. So Git says don't directly do it. Copy this folder, give it a name, right? So creation of the branch is, I have actually created a separate version, or not version, separate branch or separate folder of which is actually the copy of the master. So when I did this thing, what I really did is I created a copy which I've taken from the master branch, and it is actually representing a separate folder. Saying it as folder is not entirely right in the context of Git, because there's no concept of folder there. But to make you guys understand what is a branch, you can imagine it or visualize it as a folder. So it's a different folder. So what you have really done is you have created a separate folder for yourself, and now you can freely work on that folder. No one else will be working on the folder, and the idea remains the same. In a single branch, only one developer should be working. Two developers should not be working on the same branch at one point of time, right? This is the very basic fundamental principle of using a version control system or Git. If you don't follow this principle, then it's very difficult for you to collaborate and merge, because lot of varied kind of issues happen. And it's not that people don't do it. The beginners, people who are not very familiar with these principles, they sometimes, everyone is using the same branch. For example, I've seen the project where there's only one branch called as master, and everyone is pushing their code directly into the master. This is entirely wrong practice. One person should only be working on, or one branch should always be worked upon by a single developer. That's the point I'm trying to highlight here. No other developer is supposed to be working on that branch. One branch represents one developer, and one ticket ID work only. Now again another thing, one Jira ID should represent one branch, and one branch should only be worked upon by one developer. So if the task is, let's say, 2386 add search test cases, so only changes related to search test cases should be present inside this ticket and nothing else. Okay, there should not be anything else apart from Jira 2386 changes. I've also seen the project where people are create just one branch and they push everything there. जो मन कर रहा है वो डाल दिया उसमें. No, again a very wrong practice to do. One project should have only one branch. One developer should be working upon a single branch, and that branch should only be representing the changes related to a specific Jira ticket or ID or changes. Okay, I hope this principle is clear. Now next thing is, developer will finish his work in his branch, but before creating a pull request. Now before I move forward, I also have to tell you what is a pull request. So let me just show you that. Now I have created the branch. This is my branch. Now I will make some changes, right? So I'll go here, and for this I was saying that I am not using the underlying, I'm not using the git command line. I'm making the changes from the UI itself. This is not how it should be done, but for the sake of simplicity, I am just making changes from the UI itself. You'll not do it from the UI, however, specifically this operation which I'm just about to do. Now this, let's say I want to make some change, so I'll say, okay, I'll go to test case 2, and I will edit it, and I will add something here at the top maybe, and I will say test case 00 added by Akash, and I will say this is done as a part of this ticket. I will add this as well, done as a part of this ticket. All right, so I have made this change here. Okay, and then I'll simply say commit, and the commit also I'll give this give this thing. I will say I'm doing this as a part of, this is just nothing but the commit -m and message which we give. This is what it is. I'll simply say commit, and it's committed, and I will go here, and it has committed. So if I go inside master branch, go here and open the test case 1 file, I don't see the changes because master is a different folder, and I have made my changes in the folder which I created later from master branch, and I have made changes here. Oh, I don't see it. Where did I make changes? Where did I do that? Wait. Right, I actually made it in test case 2. So let me just show you again. I'll go to code. I'll go to master. In the master, I have test case file 2. And here my code is not there. Why? Because I haven't done it master branch. I have done it in my own branch, which is a copy of it. And here, if you see test case 2, I have this code being added here. So this is my change. So when you are assigned a ticket 2386, and that 2386 you have to create something. So this is how you're going to add it here. Now once you have made the changes, you will say I am okay with the change, I have done the changes. Now next step is you need to merge your branch, that is the changes which you have made in your branch, you have to merge it with the master branch, because there cannot be multiple code bases, right? There has to be only one single code base, because this is what's going to get deployed, right? All the branches will not get deployed, only the main branch, the master branch, will be deployed. So essentially whoever is making changes in their own individual branches has to eventually merge their code into the main branch, right? Now to merge this code, so whatever you have done here, you need to merge this in the master. To achieve this, you have a concept and it's called as pull requests, right? So when you create a pull request, let me go and create a pull request. I'll say new pull request and I will select. So this is a base branch. This is where I have to push. So I have to push in the master branch, and from where you want to push, that I have to select here. So I want to push 2386 from here to the master branch, and I'll do it shows me whatever has been changed as well. So I'll just quickly go and create but first, for now, just notice two important things. One is able to merge. This branch can be automatically merged, and see the changes. And I click on create pull request and create pull request. Now another thing which can be checked here and seen, should be highlighted here, is reviewers. Now this is how you do code review. Okay, now the thing is, when you create a project, when you write something in your branch, how do you ensure whatever you have written is right? Are you following the right standards? Are you doing the right thing? So you need to assign your code for review. You need to make sure that your code is reviewed by your team members. So for that, there's a segment called as reviewers, and I will just go here. I'll select Sarang here, right? Because in this repository, only I and Sarang is present. Let's say if you have more people, then all the list of all the people will be there. Normally, you assign your team leads or your one of your colleague. That is enough. So 2 approvals, 2 reviewers is always, it's a generally good practice. So I was talking about the reviewer. So your code has to be reviewed by someone, because how do you know whatever you have written here is actually of a high quality code which you are writing, which you're trying to push inside the master? So you need to assign it to someone who would actually review your code. And generally speaking, the usual practice is to assign it, or ask for your team lead perhaps, or some of your colleague to review your code. And this is how you will assign it. You will say reviewers, and you'll find the person, add the name, and then you click on create pull request. The moment you create a pull request, you will see something like this. uh, then you can actually go into the files changed, and you can actually see whatever you have changed in the code. So it will tell you all the files where you have changes. So here right now it's telling you in the test case 2.java you have made these changes. Plus here represents the plus symbol, you should see here represents the addition of the lines. So Git tracks everything. Git tracks what lines are added, what lines are modified, and what lines are deleted, because that's what you do in a file, right? In a file, either you add a new file, or you modify a file. So you can rather do these 3 things: add a file, modify a file, delete a file. And then within these files you can again do 3 things: add lines there, remove lines there, or modify lines there. And it tracks all these 6 things. And whatever you have changed, so change between master and this branch, so it's comparing. So this folder, master folder, is getting compared with the folder which you created, and both of these 2 things are compared. And whatever is the difference is what you see inside files changed. So whatever is the difference between master and this specific branch, and master here is a branch, this is a branch. I am just, for the analogy purposes, I am saying this is a folder, this is a folder, for so that you can visualize it as a folder, a simple folder in your C drive or D drive, right? So it is comparing these two things, and if it finds the difference of either of these three, either of these six things, addition of the file, deletion of the file, modification of the file, then addition of the line, deletion of the line, modification of the line. So this represents here what? This represents a modification of a file and addition of the lines. And this is how you're going to see plus, plus, plus. You can also see what is above, what is below, it shows you. But mostly it highlights whatever is present and whatever is being added. Okay. Now, since I have asked Sarang to review it, right? Sarang did something. So if I go to files changed, Sarang has actually provided the comments here. You see? Okay, let's go for a change. So Sarang is here commenting on my code, right? Sarang can also put some comment here. Sarang, can you also, if it's possible for you, can you put some comment here? Just press plus and write some comments, so that just to demonstrate these guys.
Yes, sir. Wait for a minute.
Yeah. So see, I have asked Sarang to review my work. Sarang did what? Sarang left some comments here, and Sarang will also put something here in a minute. Let's see. Let's wait for him to make changes. So if I refresh it,
Yeah.
let's see.
Just refresh the page.
Okay. I don't see it, Sarang. Did you put it here like this?
It's coming under pending actually.
Oh, actually, you don't start a review. You do as add single comment. Write something and click on add single comment. That way it
No,
will just.
actually I'm using on a mobile client.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
And even I am not.
Yeah, I know. That's
Even
fine. Don't worry. So see, all I wanted to demonstrate here is that the person who you are asking for the review can actually put the comments here. Okay. Yeah, Sarang has added now.
Akash sir, can you just refresh once again? Add did a change.
Yeah. See, so Sarang actually can points. He can say change needed here on the line. So Sarang has said this line is not right, and I can actually answer that. I can say, okay, I will make the changes. Okay. So this is how you collaborate with each other, with your reviewers, right? You don't have to be sitting together to do this. You can be at different locations, and this is how basically the whole collaboration and code reviews and all those things happen. Since I asked Sarang to review my code, Sarang has given me code comments, and I will just see, okay, this is right. Then what I'll do, I'll go back to my branch. I'll go back to these lines. For example, Sarang is saying, okay, this line is not right. Give the right name, right? This is what he's saying. What I'll do, I'll go to my branch, and I will go to edit it. I will again go to test case 2. Sarang has given me comments here, so I will just go to edit. I say, okay, made changes based on Sarang's comment. Usually you don't write these things. For demonstration, I'm doing this. So I'll say, okay, Sarang is saying to give it a name like this, for example, and I will say commit again, commit changes. My changes are committed, and if I go back to my pull request, the changes will be done, right? So you don't have to again and again create the new pull requests. So changes are done. You can see the differences here. This is what I have changed, the changes I have made, and I can go back here. I can say to Sarang, I have changes are made, resolving the conversation, and click on comment and click on resolve conversation. So now it is done. My conversation is okay. I have made the changes the way he wanted, and he can actually go and click on approve, right? Sarang can approve the request. So once my pull requests are approved, so the most important thing here is you raise a pull request, you assign a reviewer will give the comments, you will make the necessary changes, the same PR will be updated, then you will say, okay, I have done the changes, and then the reviewer will again check again whether you have updated the changes. And once it is done, then the reviewer will approve the pull request. The pull request, that means the permission to modify the master code with the changes present inside this branch will be over. Okay, that is, you are approved to merge your code. And then you can do what? You can click on merge pull request, right? So before you do this, I'll just show you the previous and old. So let me just show you. So I'll go to master. Okay, what happened to this? Okay, I'll go to guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you go to master, you go to test case 2, and you will see nothing is there because the change is not here. Then I go to this branch and you will see something has been changed here. And if I go to pull request and I click on merge pull request and do a confirm merge, I'll get something like this, that the branch is merged. I can then delete my branch. If I don't want this branch to be there, you can delete it. If you want to revert the changes, you can revert it. That I will demonstrate in a while. But let's just go and check again what happened in the master branch. So if I go to master again, remember previously the code was not there. Now I have the changes, the same changes, made changes based on Sarang comment, and this ticket has now become part of the master branch. And that is how you merge your code to the main or default or master branch. And for that matter, it is not that master branch, you can merge one branch into another in this manner. So for merging purposes, you have to create a pull request, you have to select the base branch, you have to select the target branch, a source branch and target branch, and then you can merge the code and you can get it reviewed, get it approved, and then you can merge it, right? I hope this is clear to everyone how to do pull requests and all, pull requests, how to merge your code and all. You can go back to the previous your pull request like this, remove the filter, go back here, and let's just say another concept here is the revert part. Let's just say the changes which you have made were not right and it was discovered later. So someone, then your, let's say your manager came, he said, okay, what changes did you made? It's breaking things. Let's just roll it back, remove it from the master. So how you will do it? You will go to the PR which was merged, after which your issues started coming. You will open the merged PR and you can click on revert, right? The moment you do a revert, it will automatically create a branch for you. So you don't have to do anything else. You just follow the steps. You do a revert, you will get something like this. You click on create pull request. Okay, you see this branch, revert 1 Jira 2386. This is a branch which GitHub created for you automatically, and you can actually see that. You can actually go back here and you can see a branch being created called as revert this. This contains the code of reversion from the master. So it automatically does that. Then you can go back here and you can see the files change. In the files change, it is showing you minus. That means you want to revert it, right? You want to revert these lines of code from the master, isn't it? So this is how GitHub does it. Minus here means removal. So it will just remove these lines from here. I can just quickly go and click on merge pull request, confirm merge, and it will be merged. And then if I go back to code and if I go to master, if I go to test case 2, I will see the lines are removed. My code has been reverted successfully, right? So code merging and code reviews, code approvals, pull requests, and reverting the pull request. This is what I have tried to explain for now. Any doubt so far in this, whatever I have done? This is a very basic thing which you all have to do if you go into a live project. Any doubts so far?
Yes, Akash. So as you said, the master branch will be created by a developer. So I think that will have the application code in the master branch and will,
Yeah, carry
yep,
on, carry on.
and will be creating our own branches. So we'll have those test cases in those branches, right? The test code basically. So what are we merging? Like,
Not
why
really.
do we merge?
Not really. Not really. Not really. So see, there's no concept of developer and tester here. Okay. If you are using this repository, that means you are a developer, irrespective of you are an automation tester or you are a application developer, right? I am assuming that in this repository, let's say you only have one code or one framework, and that is a test framework. Then still you will be called as a developer only. So developer represent, you are representing developer. It's not that the master represents developer. It's not that. Master represents the final version of the code. Whatever code you are keeping here, it represents that. So you remember we have Cucumber framework, right? You see we have a Cucumber framework here. This is a Cucumber framework. In master, we have the main copy. Then in other branches, we have different kind of changes, right? So here there's no concept of application developer or automation tester. If you are using GitHub, you are a developer, right? uh, it's not that master will have access to developer and you, it's not like that. You can take analogy from here. This is the Cucumber Selenium framework, right? This is a plain simple automation framework, and whoever is going to want to make changes into this, he has to make a branch, and after making the changes, he will create a pull request and place its code into the master branch. As simple as that.
आकाश सर, एक लास्ट डाउट था मेरा।
Yeah, carry on.
तो या तो जब हम एक ब्रांच डिलीट करते हैं, उसके बाद हम रिवर्ट कर सकते हैं उसको, मतलब
uh, yes,
कि
so you can, if you're deleting a branch, there's an option to revive it, and then you can revert it. So if you go and delete a branch, for example, if I go and delete a branch, let's see. So if I go and I go to pull request, I'll remove this filter, and I will, let's say here, and if I, let's say, delete this branch, so branch will be deleted, but I can still restore the branch. Okay, so branch can still be restored. There are a few settings depending on which project, which company project, which kind of version control system you're using, because GitHub is not the only tool which is there for all the projects. There are different tools available for version control. So GitHub is one of them. Then we have GitLab, then we have Bitbucket, then we have different tools in AWS also. AWS also provides its own version control system. So if your company is using AWS, then they might be using that. So all of that is there. But the concept more or less always will remain the same. The concept is always the same about pull request and deletion of the branch and all those things.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Now, next thing here is, let me go back. Actually, there is a lot to cover. I have done only 20-30% for now. Anyway, right. So I was talking about this, right? So developer will finish his work in his branch, but before creating a pull request, code merge with the base branch is required, right? So all I have shown you right now, how to create a pull request, how to get your code reviewed, and how to merge your code. But before you even do these things, you need to do something, right? That means you need to take the latest version of the master in your branch. Now, this is where things might become a little bit more complex, right? This is called as merging the code base, that is merging the branch which you have with the base branch, so that you always get the latest version of the current base branch. Now, lot of twisted statement, I understand. Maybe I did not present in the right manner, but let me just quickly take you here to this specific screenshot, right? Now the idea here is, and I think we are reaching the time limit, but still let me continue for 5 more minutes, and then we will continue this tomorrow. I'll give you some time to consume all of this, because as I said, there's a lot to cover. But let me first show you this screenshot. Here you will see there are 3 cases, right? Then we have a case 1, which is change in different files, change in same file but at different lines, change in same file but at same lines, right? So what I mean by these things is, I'll show you something here. So the case 1 is changing test file 1 by Akash. So this is what I just demonstrated you. That means there was only one developer working on this. one developer was there, and the developer was actually created the branch, and it has created a pull request, and the code was merged, right? Guys, 1 minute. Right now, in this case, no harm done. The person can copy it, make changes, and merge it. That's fine. Everything is fine. But that's not usually the case, because in a project, in a repository, maybe 10 people are working at the same time. They all are creating their branches. They're making changes in their branches. Then they're creating the pull request, and they're trying to merge their pull requests, right? That is how it should. That is how it's supposed to happen. That is how it happens. Just by giving an analogy of the folder structure. So you have a master folder in your D drive where you have code, and then you have 5 people working on that. So different people will create their own folders, and they will start making changes in their own folders, and then eventually they will create a pull request to merge their changes into the master. And what happens when everyone will try to do it at the same time, right? So there are few cases possible. One case is, this is what I am trying to explain here. What are the cases possible when multiple people are working? So let's say there are two developers, let's say one is Akash, second is Sarang, and we both are trying to change different files. So we created our own different folders, folder 1, folder 2. That is, folder here represents a branch. So we created 2 different branches, and we are making changes in those branches differently. It's a different branch, so no one is stopping us. We can continue to work on our own branches, but it happens so that we are making changes in the different files. So not the same file, different files. If you do this, then there will not be any merge conflicts. There will not be any conflicts. Everything will happen smoothly. I create my PR, the person will create, Sarang will create the PR, I will create my PR will get reviewed, and we both can merge my changes. Simple, no issues. Now there is second case, change in same file, but at different lines. That means we are now, both of us created the file, created the folder. We both are creating, adding test cases in test case file 2, right? But not at the same lines. We are, Sarang is adding the lines at the top, and I am adding my method at the bottom. In that case also, there will not, possibility there will not be any conflicts until unless you change something here and there, right? So Git will still able to understand. He will do what? He will take your changes also. He will take Sarang. He will take my changes also. He will take the Git will take Sarang changes also, and he will find no difficulty in merging it. He will say, okay, that's fine. Now the real problem comes when there are changes in the same file but at the same lines. Now you understand the issue. The issue here is Akash and Sarang, 2 developers. They are both working on the same file, of course in a different branches. Branches abhi dono ki different hai. Branches same nahi hai. Branches are still different, so they can continue to work on it unaware that the other developer is working on the same file and same lines. मुझे नहीं पता सारंग भी टेस्ट केस फाइल 2 का टेस्ट मेथड 2 को चेंज कर रहा है, और मैं भी वही चेंज कर रहा हूं, but I have no connection with him because I am working on my own branch, so I will not know. I'll continue to work on it, and that's how it should be. The concept of branch is still the same. That means मैं जो भी चेंज करना चाहता हूं अपने branches में, I should be able to do that. And Sarang is also able to do that. So we both are individually working on our own branches. But the problem arises when we try to merge it. So Sarang will complete his work, I will complete my work, I will create my PR, Sarang will create his own PR, and then we will try to merge it. So when we both try to merge it, of course the merge doesn't happen simultaneously. First PR will get merged first smoothly, but when the second PR will try to merge when the second PR is going to get merged, it will arise a conflict, right? The conflict will be, Akash tried to change this line, Sarang is also trying to change this line. So Git will say, I will discard both the changes. Not discard, he will raise a suspicion, he will raise an alarm. Git will raise the alarm, Git will say, no, something is not right. Because if I take Sarang changes, Akash changes will be overridden. Akash changes will be gone. So I will not allow Sarang to modify this file. I will ask Sarang to go and talk to Akash, both sit together, talk to each other, conclude, and then modify it, right? So this is the third case. This is also called as conflict resolution. This occurs a lot, basically. in a project. This is not, I'm not telling you something which doesn't happen, right? These are the things which might sound unfamiliar to you, they might sound difficult to understand. You'll say, okay, let's skip that because it's too difficult. But this is something which happen on the daily basis, right? Because there are 20-30 people working in your project, different people changing something somewhere, you will not know exactly. And when you try to merge it, you will see the conflicts. So you need to learn these things, how to resolve the conflicts. So I'll end the session for today. We'll continue on this tomorrow. I will give you some time to consume what I just told you today. But before I end, let me just walk you through these three things again. There are 4 cases. Case 1, Akash changes test file 1. Case 2, Akash changes test file 1 and Sarang changes test file 2. Again, there will not be any changes because we are changing different files. Conflict 3 is Akash changes test file 1 and same lines, and Sarang also changed the test file 1 and the same lines. There can be more combinations, there can be more different combinations, but most important, these are the most importantly, these are the 3 main important cases possible. Now what I want from you guys is you go through these screenshots. I have taken each and every screenshot of all the cases. I haven't missed a single screenshot, so that it gives you a complete understanding of what's happening. So case 1, both developer working in the different files. You see here the screenshots, create the branch, make the changes are made like this, committed, create pull request, get it reviewed. All the screenshots are here. Okay, then it's done. Then case 2, two developers making changes in the different files. Here I'm saying case 2, changing test file 1 by Akash, changing test file 2 by Sarang. This is created by Akash, this is created by Sarang, and we both are making changes in our own repositories. There are two PRs created here. You see 2 PRs created, and we have our own changes. So first change is done here, second changes are done there, and then we can quickly merge the branch by Sarang and branch by Akash. Both the branches are merged, right? And changes are merged, and you will see both the codes here. So you will see in the master branch, you will see my changes, case 1 added by Akash changes, as well as Sarang changes. Okay, no, this is not the right screenshot. This is the right screenshot, right? So you will see those things here as well. Now there are the third case which you see here is where the conflict arises, right? So case 3 is changing test file 1 by Akash, changing test file 1 by Akash. So I'm trying to change the same file, and most importantly at the same lines, right? So I'm trying to change same lines here. So you see this was a state. So in the previous case 2, both the changes, you will see my changes here in the test case class 1, and Sarang changes are in the test class 2. Now in the third one, we both are trying to change this line. Okay, I'm trying to change this line here. This is changed by Akash, and Sarang is changing here. So you see line number 24, this is Sarang's branch, this is Akash branch, and we both changed here. Line number 24, we both changed. And now when we try to create the pull request, we both will be creating the pull request. So whoever request gets approved and merged first, there will not be any issue. You see, we have 2 pull requests, and both the pull request, we have changed the lines in the same file, test file 1 by Sarang, test file 1 by Akash. We tried to change the same line. Now when this will get merged, Akash will try to, let's say, merge his request first. It will have no issues, it will be merged. But when Sarang sees it, it will get a conflict here. This branch has conflicts that must be resolved, right? And then you have to use resolve conflicts. I'm not showing you because I'll not cover this tomorrow. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. Going to demonstrate this, but I want you guys to go through it, because if you go through it once, at least when I try to explain this tomorrow, you will have more retention of it, you will understand it better. So whatever screenshot I'm showing you here is what you try at your own end, in your own repositories, and I have given the full screenshot so that you can actually do it. So here I am resolving it. You will see something like this. I'll explain tomorrow. And all the things which I'm just the screenshot which you see have taken from the same repository. So you will see everything here in these branches. You can actually check it as well. You can go back and you can actually remove this filter, and you can see all the pull requests which I have created for merging and all those things. Okay, so the last part which is remaining here is the conflict resolution, basically. So that conflict resolution is, I will try to explain it in tomorrow's session, because I think it's getting late, and I don't know, you guys are tired now of these concepts. All right, guys. Any more thing to discuss today? Any questions? Whatever we done today.
Yes. Why would two person work on a same file?
All right. So why would two-person work on the same file, right? So let's see. Let me go here. This is a Cucumber framework, right? This is where we're writing the test cases. So this is a file healthcheck.feature. Now we are a team, right? So Manish is an automation tester. Stephen is an automation tester. Sarang is an automation tester. Roshni is an automation tester, and we are all assigned some work to do. So this is a file where each of you are supposed to be writing some test case, right? So you will be adding some test case. Roshni will also want to add some of her test case. Stephen would also like to add his own test cases. So we will be working on the same file, but working on the same file doesn't mean you're working on the same branch. You are working on a different branch, a different folder, but in that folder you're working on the same file, isn't it? Are you getting this? See,
Yeah,
all I
understood.
understood, right? So let me maybe, because let me share a whiteboard. So all I'm saying here is this. Let me draw this. I'm saying this is the master, right? Now this is Manish. This is Stephen. Manish has some work to do. Stephen also has some work to do, right? That work has to be done in the master branch. Stephen also wants to add this into master branch, but this is not allowed in Git. This is discouraged. You both should not make changes in the same master or same code base. So what is the right way to do? Let me redo it. The right way to do is, there's a master branch. There's a Manish. Sorry for my drawing. This is Stephen. This is Manish. How you will do it? You will create a copy of it. And Stephen will also create a copy of it. Okay. And this copy, you will have all the files copied from master. And here also, Stephen will have all the files copied in this folder. Then you can freely work on this file. And Stephen can also freely work on this file. Now both the files are same. This file and this file are same, but in different folders. So this is a different folder. This is a different folder. Stephen is working on his own folder in his own file. Manish is working on his own folder and his own file. Once they are done with the changes, once you are done with your changes, let me change the color of the line drawing. Once you're done with the changes, what you will do? You will create a pull request here, and Stephen will also create the pull request, right? So when you both try to add or modify the same file, right, here the conflict arises. This is the conflict zone. Oh, my writing here, right? So this is where you will see the conflicts. Okay, but until जब तक आप अपने फोल्डर में काम करते रहोगे, कोई किसी को प्रॉब्लम पता ही नहीं चलेगा, right? Stephen will not know that Manish is also working on the same file, and Manish will also not know that Stephen is working on the same file. But you will make changes in the same file, but in a separate folders. These folders are nothing but the branches. This is your branch, and this is the pull request. This is the pull request. Okay, so once this pull request, जब ये merge करने पे हम जाएंगे, यहाँ पे भी पता चलेगा कि यार conflict आ गया है. तो जो पहले कर लेगा उसको प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा, जो बाद में करेगा उसको प्रॉब्लम आएगा। तो उसको कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बेसिकली बाद में रिजॉल्व करना पड़ेगा, विच विल ट्राई टू सी टुमारो।
Okay, okay.
ओके
Okay,
बट आकाश सर,
yeah,
अभी
carry on.
हम लोग अभी मनीष और मैं मतलब अलग अलग सिनेरियोस पे काम कर रहे होंगे ना सेम फाइल के, यहाँ पर
हाँ,
conflict
ऑफ
कैसा आ
कोर्स, ऑफ
सकता
कोर्स, राइट। तो ऐसा तो वो तो डुप्लीकेट काम हो जाएगा ना। अगर मैं, आप भी यही टेस्ट केस लिख रहे हो, मैं भी यही टेस्ट केस लिख रहा हूँ, तो गड़बड़ हो
हाँ।
गई ना, क्योंकि दे शुड नॉट बी डुप्लीकेसी, बट फाइल तो सेम हो सकती है ना।
Okay, but consider there are three scenarios to be automated, and one is already automated, and it is present in the master branch, and Manish is automating second scenario, and I am automating third scenario.
Mhm.
So if we try to commit it, then how will the conflict arise?
नहीं, see, git has nothing to do with scenarios. Git sees changes in the file. आपको जैसे करना है वैसे करो. Only thing Git will be worried about is that if you have a healthcheck.feature file, and here you are adding a test case at this line, that means let's say you are adding a test case here, and his Manish folder, Manish is also adding a test case here in the same lines, कुछ और लिख रहा है वो वहां पे,
Okay.
right? And when both of you try to merge your code in the master, then the master will start shouting. Master will say, okay, Manish, you made changes in line number 21 of healthcheck.feature. Stephen, you also made changes in the file health check feature in line number 21. Which one to take? Because Manish अपने changes merge कर देगा, पर जब Stephen अपने changes merge करने की कोशिश करेगा, at that time the Git will start shouting, because अगर वो अलाउ कर दिया आपके चेंजेस को मर्ज करने के लिए, सो मनीष के चेंजेस इस लाइन के इन लाइंस के डिलीट हो जाएंगे, राइट? आपका चेंजेस आ जाएगा यहाँ पे, तो डिलीशन अलाउ नहीं करेगा गिट विल नॉट अलाउ ओवर राइटिंग ऑफ द कोड। अगर उसको कोई डाउट आ रहा है कि कोड कुड लूज, इट वुड रिजल्ट इन द लूजिंग ऑफ सम लाइंस ऑफ कोड, इट विल नॉट अलाउ दैट, राइट? Did I answer your question? Is this what you were asking?
Yes.
या कुछ और पूछ रहे थे?
नहीं, ये पूछ रहा था।
Right. So Git. हाँ, बोलो.
Yeah, so if there are like 5-6 members in a team and all are working in the same file, we'll have to communicate every time. Like I'll have to tell Stephen that this is my area, don't come on these lines. So
Not really. See, वो communication करने का उतना जरूरत नहीं होता है, because anyone can work on anything. The idea is anyone can work on anything. The thing is, of course, the work will be allocated to you, that you are working on a search scenario, so the other person should not be working on the search scenario, because वो test case duplicacy हो जाएगी, right? But other than this, you don't have to communicate anything, because anyone can work on any. For example, you want to make some changes here. Someone also wants to make some changes here, and when the conflict arises, then you can go and talk. If there are no conflicts happening, fair and lovely, no issues, कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है, चुपचाप कोड मर्ज कर दो, right? Everything is hunky dory, no issues. But if you are trying to change a line of a file and both of you are trying to change the same line, then conflict will occur. Then you can anyway talk, right? अगर अलग अलग फाइल्स में चेंजेस कर रहे हो तो ऑफ कोर्स बात करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, अपना कोड मर्ज होता जाएगा. Still confused?
पर एक डाउट था आकाश
हाँ,
सर,
हाँ.
मतलब
Yes.
एक ऐसा एग्जांपल दीजिए, मतलब हम लोग एक ही लाइन क्यों मतलब चेंज करने जाएंगे कि वो अपना अलग काम कर रहा है उसके मतलब पार्ट पे, मैं अपना
देखो,
ओके ये मतलब कॉमन मेथड्स पे हो सकता है क्या? फॉर एग्जांपल
हाँ, और अभी ये वाला एग्जांपल लेते हैं हम. ओके,
हाँ,
now in this example, product description is displayed in new tab, right? This is a simple method. Now this is master copy, for example. Stephen has made his own copy, Manish has made his own copy. दोनों को ये वाला कोड दिख रहा होगा, right? अलग अलग उसमें. Now Manish said, okay, I have a special requirement. I have to modify this method because I have a special requirement, so I have to add some lines of code here. Making some changes, right? और मैं यहाँ पे कुछ चेंज कर देता हूँ, ठीक है? मैंने लाइंस चेंज कर दी. And then this is changed by Manish. Now Stephen, you also thought, okay, I have also need to modify this, so I need to modify something here. I will change this line, I will change this line. I have to add a for loop here. Something, right? अब दोनों ने चेंज कर दिया है कि मेथड में, ठीक है? अलग अलग पर्पसेस के लिए, अलग अलग पर्पसेस के लिए आपने अपने टेस्ट केस को सही करने के लिए यहाँ पे ऐड किया, मनीष ने अपने टेस्ट केस को सॉल्व करने के लिए यहाँ पे ऐड किया, पर चेंज तो कर दिया ना. Now when both of you will try to create a pull request and try to merge your code, Git will be confused. Git will say, अरे मैं ये कोड लूं कि मैं ये वाला कोड लूं, which code to take? So if Git finds this confusion, it raises the conflict. It say no, मैं कुछ नहीं करूंगा. I will leave it up to the discussion of the developers. So developers talk to each other. Then Manish and Stephen will come together, sit together. They might talk to each other, and then they decide कि कैसे करना है. And then manual touch is required, and manually you will resolve it. So जो पहले कर लेगा, अगर मनीष ने पहले कर दिया तो उसको कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं आएगा, वो बल्ले बल्ले उसका. जो बाद में करता है ना, उसको इशू होने लगता है. ओके, सो इफ मनीष ने पहले किया तो क्या करेगा गिट, उसको एक्सेप्ट कर लेगा. मनीष के चेंजेस कौन से थे, ये वाले. सो ये चेंजेस एक्सेप्ट कर लिए उसने. लेकिन जब आप करने पे जाओगे, when Stephen try to do a pull request and on these same lines, let's say something has been changed, then Git will say, Stephen, I will not allow it, because if I allow your changes, Manish changes will be lost. I have already accepted Manish's changes. Something like, भाई मैंने उससे पैसा ले लिया है, अभी मैं पे उससे बात करो तभी मैं allow करूंगा तुम्हारा, नहीं तो तुमसे पैसे नहीं लूंगा. Something like this. या मेरा सामान बिक गया है, मैं अभी तुम पैसे ले चुका हूं उससे. Something like this. If there are two pull requests, one pull request will get approved and merged. It will take it. Master will take it. But then next person try to make the changes in the same lines. Then the master branch will say, नहीं भाई मैंने उसका पैसा लिया है, अभी उससे बात करो, अगर दोनों सेटलमेंट करो तभी मैं लूंगा, नहीं तो मैं नहीं लूंगा. Right? Then the conflict will come. That means the conflict will come, and then you have to talk to the person, discuss, and then take his changes and merge your changes manually. आप देखो उसके क्या चेंजेस हैं, आपके क्या चेंजेस हैं, उसको मर्ज करो, एंड देन टेल टू मास्टर, हाँ मैंने बात कर लिया है, ठीक है, एवरीथिंग इज फाइन, टेक माय चेंजेस आल्सो. So this is called as conflict resolution. So conflict resolution has to be done manually. It doesn't happen automatically. When Git is raising this conflict, that means Git is not allowing it to do or manage automatically. Git wants you to come forward, check the conflict, solve it manually, and then merge your code. So जब फाइनल मनीष अब स्टीफन अपना कोड मर्ज करेगा, तो मास्टर में मनीष का कोड भी होगा और स्टीफन का कोड भी होगा. मनीष का कोड होगा नीचे और स्टीफन का कोड होगा ऊपर. Got it?
Yes. That is clear.
Cleared?
Yeah.
All right. So see, I understand these concepts are not very straightforward, and they require some level of practice. That's for sure. So how do you guys practice? You cannot practice this when you are doing it alone. You are trying to learn Git. Git is used for collaboration. If you don't have anyone to collaborate, you will not learn it. So that is why you guys need to team up, right? Try to create a project. One person can create the project, create a repository, put your project there, then invite others, at least two or three of your friends, and then try to do these things. What I'm trying to teach you today, try to do these things. All of this I have put here as a screenshot. Okay, you can exactly simulate this, exactly do this to simulate these scenarios. I've put everything here, right? Change 1, case 2, case 3. So this is Akash changes to Manish, changes to Stephen, and then see, try to create pull request, make change, do a pull request, try to play around with it and simulate these 3 cases: case 1 simple, case 2, and case 3. Case 4 is revert, but that's fine, that's pretty simple. But case 2 and case 3, try to do this. And case 3 is most important, because this is where conflict arises. And for case 3, I have case 3, we have a screenshot here. It starts from here. So you try to do this, create these 2 branches. Here I have created myself, but I would like you guys to create it separately and do these things. Okay, all the steps are mentioned here. So try doing these things. This is how you get the conflict. This is how you will resolve the conflict. I have written the statements here as well, and I'll show you this tomorrow. But beforehand, I would like you guys to give it a try. So ask your friends, sit together and team up with your friends within the group. And the more people you have, the better. If you can somehow manage to have like 3 to 4 people in your team, then it's better to simulate this. Okay, any more questions?